The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke and Kevin Price. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with eXp Realty.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
We had two overtime thrillers, plus Brunswick and Glenn made statement wins in Region 1-5A. Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, and we've got a great show for you tonight. It was week 4 of high school football here in the 912, and even though Mother Nature was not at her best, we still saw some great high school football. Evan Smoke, after selecting the Brunswick High Powers to defeat the Effingham Rebels, is now 2-1 on the season. He'll be along with this week's picks of Game of the Week between the Liberty County Panthers and the Lone County Blue Tide. Head writer and podcast host Kevin Price and I will preview the games on tap for September the 13th. So sit back, enjoy the show. You're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Hey folks, once again, my name is Evan Smoke, and I'm here to give you the scores from last week's 912 matchups. We're going to check the scores from September 6th, last Friday night. We're going to start off with the Appleton County Pirates. They handle business once again, defeating the Swainsboro Tigers 32-12. Bradwell and Glenn in one of the first region games of the year. Glenn Academy handles business 57-12 over the Tigers at Bradwell Institute. Brantley continues their skid to start the season 0-4 as Vidalia goes into Caney Bay and defeats the Herons 30-10. 3-0. In last week's game of the week, the Brunswick County Pirates went into Springfield and defeated the Effingham County Rebels. That is 42 Pirates, 20 Effingham County. That was the game of the week, and I did get it right to improve to 2-1. Moving on, Camden continues their tour of the Florida schools as they defeat Robot High School 62-6 down in Kingsland. Charlton gets back on the winning track. They defeat North Florida rival Yulee 42-14. Clinch goes on the road into Nashville, Georgia, and defeats Berrien County 35-13. Frederica made the cross South Georgia trip to Tifton, where they fell to Tift area 22-9. Jeff Davis defended home turf against Tatnall County. Coach Lance Helding and his Yellow Jackets won 30-6 last Friday night. Jenkins went on the road into Hinesville to play the Liberty County Panthers. Liberty was unable to defend home turf as Jenkins gets a big victory, 28-12. Last Thursday night, Long County made the trip to Savannah to take on Groves High School. They were able to be some Road Warriors and win the game, 38-6 in favor of the Blue Tide. McIntosh County Academy went over to Emmanuel County Institute in one of the better games of last week. Game went into overtime, and the Buccaneers pull it out 7-6. Richmond Hill made the trip to Pooler and got on the road versus the New Hampstead Phoenix. A really hot team, but Coach Matt Lazada and his Wildcats got it done, 47-28 in favor of Richmond Hill. Pierce made the trip to Jessup in a short county border war. They handled the Yellow Jackets 35-0. Statesboro and Greenbrier, another region game in 5A. They were unable to get it done, though, as Greenbrier from Augusta beats the Blue Devils 43-14. In last week's last game, Bartram Trail comes up from Florida, goes into Waycross, and defeats the Gators in overtime 43-42. I'll be back later in the show to talk about this upcoming game of the week.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports. He's Kevin Price, head writer and podcast host. Kevin, how you doing this evening, man?
Good, Sean. Good to be here with you. Another high school football Friday night. It's almost here. So some good games on tap this week. Couple of intriguing matchups for sure. So going to be interesting to see what happens on the gridiron here in Southeast Georgia tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, Kevin. We're talking about week 5 already. So, I mean, it's crazy. But we're going to talk about the games coming up for September the 13th. We're going to start off with Applin at DeLand High School down in Florida. The Applin County Pirates, Kevin, making a long ride down to DeLand there right outside of Daytona Beach there, and going to play a good high school football team down there in Florida. So we'll see if Applin can get on a bus, make a ride, and come away with a big win. So not real sure what went into that game, planning it out, but Applin is going to make that ride down to Florida to try to get a win. But the first game we're going to talk about in depth is Lanier at Bacon. I wanted to talk about these two teams because Lanier was a playoff team last year. Bacon, it's been a few years since Bacon's been in the playoffs, but Lanier comes into this game 1-3. Bacon County comes into the game 2-1 after their big win over Troutland this past Friday night. I think they won that game 31-21. These two teams do have some like opponents, Kevin. They both played Telfair County. Lanier beat Telfair County, lost to Telfair County, and Bacon beat Telfair County. So we'll see if that has any bearing on the game Friday night. But Bacon's on a really good run right now, and we'll see if they can keep the train going on Friday night.
Yeah, these are two teams that's kind of started in opposite ways. And you mentioned the recent pass by Lanier. You know, they had two of their best years in history back-to-back the last couple of years. 2 years ago, I think they won their first state playoff game ever. And then last year had a 7-3 season. And I had forgotten about it until I kind of started looking some things up on this game. Their new coach is David Dean. And if that name sounds familiar, this is a guy that had coached at the college level in the most recent past, won 2 national championships at Valdosta State, also coached at Georgia Southern and at West Georgia. And then now he's back in the high school ranks over at Lanier County. But obviously they're in a bit of a rebuilding mode this year, off just to a 1-2 start. And you did mention them losing to Telfair in a low-scoring ball game, 12-7. And Bacon, winning 2 games now after losing to clinch in their opener, beat Telfair most recently 38-21. So if you look at that common opponent, does look like Bacon should win this one, and they're on a little bit of a roll. So hopefully they can keep up the positive momentum and then go get them another one.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that game. Next game up is Effingham at Bradwell. Bradwell coming off a big beat down this past Friday night there by Glenn. Effingham lost to Brunswick. Effingham 0-3 on the season. If somebody had told me that Effingham would have been 0-3, I probably would have jumped all over that and lost a lot of money. But I think Effingham gets in the win column this Friday night. The Brantley County Herons are going to be open this coming up Friday night. They lost to Vidalia this past Friday night. The next game we're going to talk about is Evans at Brunswick. I tell you, Kevin, Brunswick's on a roll. Let's just call it like it is. Brunswick should be sitting here 4-0. If they didn't have the problems against Camden by snapping the ball to the punter, there's no doubt in my mind that they should have won that football game. They didn't, but they have been resilient. They've bounced right back. They've handled their business. They go on the road to get a big win against Effingham County, who I thought maybe had a chance to win that region. They're hitting on all cylinders, but hey, Evans comes into this contest 2-1. They've got some good wins under the belt. They did lose this past Friday night to Lakeside, who's kind of their arch rival, but we'll see who can get the win as Brunswick gets a home game this Friday night.
Yeah, I know Brunswick would like a do-over, at least on some of those punt attempts anyway, if not the whole ball game against Camden, in that opening ball game. Gift wrap Camden 21 points right up there against their goal line in that opening ball game. Who knows if Camden might score with a longer field or not, but Brunswick certainly made it easier on them. Lost that ball game 51-41, then went and ran a rough shot over Wayne the next week, took the next week off, and then did beat Effingham this past Friday night in a big region ball game. Both of these teams came into the season as 2 of the teams to beat in Region 1 5A. Kind of hard for me to talk about 5A and also calling it Region 1. So I think I got that right. Correct me if I did not. But, Brunswick had won the previous 2 region titles. Effingham had won the last one. The last 3 years, these 2 teams met in the season finale, and all 3 games decided by 3 points. Obviously, this one, this past Friday night, was not. Brunswick won this one with 42 points, held Effingham in the 20s, and kind of won going away. And now Brunswick is the team to beat in that region, clearly the favorite at this point. So what I worry about with Brunswick going against an Evans team that lost this past Friday night, a little surprising to Lakeside Evans, 21-0 there in Augusta, is really Brunswick themselves. Do they have a letdown? And they haven't been in Glenn County Stadium between the bricks in about a month. This will be their homecoming game, I do believe. So hopefully that creates a little emotional spark for the Pirates, and hopefully they go out and just handle business and leave no doubt in this one. But over 500 yards of offense the other night, Sean, against Effingham, really pounded the Rebels on the ground with over almost 400 yards of offense on the ground. And both teams, had high-scoring offenses going into the ball game, but the Pirates are the ones that kept their offense going and really won that game going away and made a statement in that ball game. And now they are the team to beat in the region.
Yeah, and Heck had a heck of a night, pun intended there. So congratulations to him. But Spruce Creek's going to come in and take on Camden. This will be Camden's. This is their 3rd or 4th Florida school, I think, back to back that's coming in. Spruce Creek, I think, is a little bit better team than they played the last couple of weeks. Spruce is 3-0, but Camden, man, really rolling, putting up a bunch of points. Scored 62 this past Friday night. So we'll see if the Wildcats can keep it rolling. But the next game I want to talk about in depth is going to be Toombs at Charlton. Charlton comes into the contest 3-1, but Kevin Toombs is perfect on the season. They kind of shocked the world Friday night. If you haven't heard, they get on a bus, make the long ride all the way up to Rome, Georgia, and take care of the 5A Rome, Rome team that everybody had as being one of the teams to beat in 5A. So Toombs with a huge, huge win, a huge feather in their cap. I mean, they've got to be the team on paper, at least right now, to win that, to win that classification. We'll see how the rest of the year plays out, but they've got a really, really good football team because you don't just walk into Rome and beat Rome.
No, you don't. And they are number one down there in single A, 33-29 victory over Rome on Friday night. That's certainly one of the biggest wins by anybody in Southeast Georgia, but really by anybody in the state of Georgia on Friday night. That's one that got everybody's attention around the Peach State 4-point win up there in Rome, a big school against a little school, 33-29. And, the game kind of got started, it couldn't really, I guess, got started in a better way from Toombs the other night. Held Rome on a 4th and 4 deep in their territory. Then they go 90 yards for a touchdown. The next time they got the ball back, they scored again and were up 14-0. And I think it was close at halftime, but they never trailed in that ball game. And every time Rome seemed to inch a little closer, they got a big play and kept the space, kept the distance between them and the Wolves, and went on to win that ball game. And, Toombs is really playing good on both sides of the ball. They got a real good defense, a real strong run game, and a good guy at quarterback that I think can beat you with his arm and his leg. So they're real solid on both sides of the football. Now, I'll tell you what, these Charlton County Indians rebounded from that loss to Jeff Davis a couple of weeks ago with a big win over Yulee Friday night. What was that, 42-14?
Yep.
Toombs has got to go into Folkestone, and the Indians are going to be waiting on them in the swamp. So this one's going to be a little more juicy, maybe a little more exciting than even we thought it might be when the season started. I think this one's got a good one written all over it. This is going to be a good test, I think, for both ball clubs.
Yeah, and Kevin, it's really, really hard to get up 2 weeks in a row. Charlton could be catching Toombs at the right time. We'll see. We'll see how that one shakes out down there in Folkestone on Friday night. Mitchell's going to travel over to Clinch. Clinch remains undefeated on the season. Coffee's back on the docket this week after having a bye week last week. Gadsden, Florida is going to come in to take on the Trojans. Gadsden's out of Havana, Florida. They're 3-0 in the season. They've already beat one Georgia team. They came out into Tifton earlier in the season and won that game, but let's not get it confused. Coffee's not Tifton, so they're going to have their hands full when they go into Jordan Stadium there on Friday night, and we'll see who gets the win there. But we're going to take a break. We'll come right back here and talk about the rest of the games coming up for September the 13th. You're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Welcome to this charming home in Blackshear, Georgia. This home is a combination of modern comfort with inviting warmth. There are 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. The kitchen has quartz countertops, shaker-style cabinets with an island. The open floor plan is accented with a stylish electric fireplace in the living room. The primary suite has a soaker tub, separate shower with glass doors, and a walk-in closet. This home is located approximately 5 miles from Pierce County High School. Call Kim Smoke of eXp Realty today at 912-286-1806 for your private showing.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Sean Smoke. He's Kevin Price, and we're talking about the games coming up for September the 13th. And, Kevin, we're going to jump right into it. We got Stratford Academy coming over to Frederica. That'll be under the Oaks there on Friday night. Frederica had a rough patch there, went down to a defeat again last Friday night. We'll see if they can get back on the winning side of the ledger here, taking on Stratford Academy there over on the island. But the next game we're going to talk about in depth is the Glen Academy Red Terrors are going to take the ride over and play the Statesboro Blue Devils. So we get the Red Terrors against the Blue Devils there. Statesboro coming off a big loss this past Friday night to Greenbrier. They had to get on the road, make a long road trip up to Augusta, come away losers 43-14. But the Glen County Red Terrors, man, they had a great game on Friday night, beat Bradwell. I think it was 57-12. And you and I were talking about it after the game, Kevin. I don't ever remember the Glen Academy Red Terrors scoring that many points against anybody. But I think you told me that they had a couple of times under Rocky. But man, what an offensive performance for the Red Terrors on Friday night.
Yeah, just for the record, for what it's worth, they had scored 57 before. I think in Coach Rock's 2016 season, I believe it was. DJ Dallas's senior year, I guess that would have been when they lost to Northside Warner Robins in the quarterfinals. That was the year after they played for the state championship in 2015. Did score 57 against Richmond Hill and Matt Lazat. Matt Lazat probably remembers that. So anyhow, they did score 56 that year too against Welton Coffee in Camden County when they had a chance to put it on the Wildcats. But anyway, Glenn with a real good team, of course, that year. But yeah, so, truthfully, though, Bradwell made it real easy on them, turned the ball over a couple of times. Glenn had a fumble return for a touchdown. Then they had a punt that went real high in the air, started bouncing back toward the line of scrimmage deep in their own territory. Tay Green, one of Glenn's offensive linemen, was pretty much Johnny on the spot and caught the ball and kind of jokingly didn't really know what to do with it and turned and headed toward the end zone and scored on a punt return as a defensive lineman. So got his name in the box score with a score there. And, they had some trouble snapping the ball, on punts and gave Glenn the ball, in good field position. And to Glenn's credit, they did cash in and take advantage of great field position all night long and didn't really dominate the stats because they didn't have far to go. And, and like I say, rang up the points and made it a quick game, an easy work night, if you will, and won that ball game going away, like you said, running clock in the second half. So it was a good night at the office for Coach Rock and the Red Terrors. It was homecoming. The rain did hold off for the most part, so that was pretty good. But so Glenn gets the region schedule off to a good start, but not a picture-perfect night for Glenn. They still had some trouble with some pass protection, missed some tackles on defense. Coach Rock was a little bit upset with some of the things that happened in the secondary a little bit, just some, lack of discipline at times. So doing some coaching there at the end of the game already in the post-game meeting with the teams, just trying to kind of keep that game in perspective. But here's another game where Glenn does have to go on the road, but they're going to face a Statesboro team that, is still trying to kind of find its way through things, find an identity. They lost some playmakers from that team last year, the McHale kid, for one, who's all playing college football now. They lost to Greenbrier, I think, for the second year in a row. And Greenbrier may be a little bit improved this year over last year. Of course, Greenbrier and Statesboro new to the region this year. They played in their lower classification region last year. Glenn did play Statesboro in a non-region game last year in the season opener for both teams at Glenn County Stadium. Glenn won that game 21-0. So, again, I think the thing for Glenn is just to go on the road, take care of business, do what they're supposed to do again, and go to 2-0 in the region and continue to try to improve, because some of their tougher region games against like Brunswick and Effingham coming up later on down the line.
That Brunswick Glen game's getting bigger and bigger every week that these two teams win. So we'll see how Glen handles herself on the road over in Statesboro. Jeff Davis, perfect on the season, going to be open this week, so they get a chance to heal up and get better. But the next game we're going to talk about is Liberty at Lone. It actually is the game of the week for 912 Sports. Last year was the first year ever that Lone County had beat Liberty. They did come away the winners, but Liberty comes into this contest 1-2. They lost last week to Jenkins. Lone perfect on the season. They beat Groves 38-6 this past Friday night. And you're hearing it from me right now, Kevin. I'm going ahead and calling it. The Lone County Blue Tide either goes 9-1 or 8-2 on the season. And I guarantee you, a couple of years ago, you could have not have made that statement.
Didn't you jinx these guys with some kind of statement like that?
No. I think I told them that they would play a playoff game, but they did lose a couple of games. But listen, they don't have all those private schools. They do have to play Calvary Day, so that's I'm kind of hedging my bet there on 9-1. So, but every other game on their schedule looks winnable. So we'll see how Mike Feaster does with these guys. But man, what a fantastic job of coaching he's done since he showed up over there. He's got these kids believing. And I think they really got a chance to make some noise this year. I mean, I'm not claiming they're going to be state champs or anything, but they got a chance to host a playoff game, and I believe that was one of his goals at the beginning of the season. And I think they're going to be in pretty good shape there.
Well, I hate to rain on your parade, but just so you know, everybody thought Notre Dame was headed to the
That's true.
playoffs after beating Texas A&M, and then here comes little Northern Illinois. Now, that said, I do agree with you. Long County is off to a 3-0 start. The toughest team on their schedule to this point was Vidalia. Easily beat Johnson and Groves the next couple of weeks. Liberty County struggling right now on offense, Sean. Lost in a low-scoring game to Bradwell in their season opener, and then also lost scoring only 12 points this past weekend against Jenkins. I think as Long goes out and scores 20, they should win the ball game, and I think Long will do that. Now, we'll see if they can continue to live up to your expectations, but I do think they do get it done this week.
All right, Fisher, don't make a liar out of me. Next game up, Claxton has got to go into Darien and take on MCA. Congratulations to MCA. Man, what a game, Kevin. Here's a game that ended 0-0 in regulation last week, and these guys get it done in overtime. Just a great accomplishment there. I really thought ECI was going to win that game, but McIntosh goes on the road and gets it done. So hats off to those kids down there. The Buccaneers are playing some good football. But the next game we're going to talk about is the New Hampstead Phoenix is going to travel over to Bearville to take on the Pierce County Bears. Pierce 3-0 on the season. Big win over Wayne this past Friday night. I think it was 30-something to nothing. And then New Hampstead lost a tough one to Richmond Hill, 40. I think it was 47-28 or 42-28, something like that. And we know Richmond Hill is a really, really good football team. New Hampstead did lose, but they still were able to put up 28 points. This could be a really, really good game in Bearville because the Bears are still hurting for personnel right now. They're moving some kids around. Like Coach says, he's having to move some pieces to the puzzle in different places. And we all know that Truell can throw the ball and spin it. He's got a great receiver in Maxwell. These guys can put up points. So this might be the old-fashioned shootout. We'll have to see how many points it'll take to win this one on Friday night.
Well, it's kind of interesting. New Hampstead's kind of been the little school taking on the bigger schools so far this year, although I guess they did take on Savannah Christian earlier, but they're kind of like the bigger school because they're loaded for bear with all these Power 4 prospects, But I was referring to New Hampstead taking on Effingham, which they did beat, and then Richmond Hill, last week in the state's largest classification, which they did lose to. But here's a team that you would kind of think maybe Pierce County is the big kid on the block too, because they're the defending AAA champs, and they do have to go into Bearville, Blackshear to play them. But like you say, the Bears beaten and banged up. I don't know if they'll get any more healthy than they were a week ago against Wayne County or not. But the intriguing matchup, much like it was last week, is this Phoenix offense of New Hampstead with the quarterback Truell against the Bears defense. But the Bears' best defense might be their offense, controlling that football with McGaffey at quarterback. And we know that he can run it and throw it. But, if they were to score in one or two plays, great. But if they can keep it on the ground, bang it between the tackles, move the chains, and keep that New Hampstead offense on the sidelines for as long as they can, all the better. So, we'll see how the chess match goes in this one. And, if the Bears can hold up defensively, all beaten and banged up, like they are, then, they could very well obviously win this ball game because they got their own great offense and their own great quarterback. So I'll be curious to see how this one goes. But because of the shape the Bears are in health-wise, that kind of makes this an interesting game on paper. But New Hampstead offense against that Bears defense, and then, of course, the quarterback matchup, it makes this one of those intriguing matchups that I talked about at the top.
Yeah, definitely two of the best quarterbacks in the state going against one another here in McGaffey and Truell. And if you're the New Hampstead offensive coordinator, Kevin, you almost got to plan for like 6 possessions, and you almost really need to score on every one to have a shot to win this game. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Going to be a good one in Bearville Friday night. But Wayne County's got to go on the road to take on Richmond Hill. Listen, Richmond Hill right now is rolling. Like I said, this team's really got a great shot at winning Region 1. They've got a lot of kids that's played a lot of football, and it showed this past Friday night as they took on New Hampstead. So look out Region 1 for Richmond Hill. I think they'll go into, Wayne has got to go over to Richmond Hill. I think Richmond Hill will easily handle that. South Effingham is going to go up to Lakeside to take on those guys in another region contest. And the Ware County Gators are going to be open this week. So that's your slate for September the 13th. Stick around. Evan's going to have his pick for game of the week right after this. But we'll be right back here after these messages. Thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Hey folks, I'm back to pick this week's game of the week. So far, I am 2-1 on a 2-game winning streak. Once again, from earlier, game of the week last week was Brunswick on the road at Effingham County. They got the job done as the Pirates defeated the Rebels 42-20. This Friday night, we're going to go down to the 3A classification as Long County is going to play host to cross-county rival Liberty County. It's right there next to them. Hinesville-Ludowici has a long history. Liberty used to dominate this matchup. However, Long County has been on a hot streak. They're going to enter this game undefeated, and I think they're going to continue their winning ways. It could be the Blue Tide by double digits tomorrow night as they defeat the Liberty County Panthers, according to myself. Let me know at the email below. That is smokereport@gmail.com. Let me know your thoughts, your agreements, your disagreements, and let's keep it going. Once again, my name is Evan Smoke. I'm going to pick Long County to win tomorrow night, and as always, I want all the smoke. Back to you guys.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.